sugar daddies, hashtag passport boys, and where the guys are going when dating is declined. We're going to talk about that and more here on this full-length edition of Depraved and Debaucherous. I am King of Podcasts. Thanks for listening to the show. The website is ddradio.live, ddradio.live. That's where you can find all the episodes in video and audio form. Where you can subscribe to the show, Apple, Amazon, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and all those great places. And where you can find me on social media all over the place. And once in a while, I'll do some dating kind of stuff on the TikTok channel at King of Podcasts. You can find that there too. So here's where we're going to do it like this. Sugar daddies, sugar dating, passport boys, all those kind of things that are going on now where for women, the chance to go ahead and just be wined and dine and escape into fantasy over reality for those that are much younger and adventurous and just want to get away. If they can't make the money on their own, they want to have somebody that will spend on them and give them this fairy tale dream. This is something out of a romantic comedy or something like that, right? It's a common thing. More than you think. And it's the extreme options that are out there for those that do not want to do dating. And maybe it's just about TikTok that's making me feel like talking about this because it's just so common. By the way, make sure to go and like, share, and subscribe if you're catching this on the YouTube. I really appreciate it. And when I look at how sad some of the girls are out there that spend so much time to put themselves together, beautiful, young, and then some of the awkward and cringeworthy dates that they're going on where things don't go well. Part of the thing is that the woman, for the most part, is going to choose who she's going to be with. And when you think about it like this, the guys that might be a little more attractive and might be a little more, playboyish, might have a certain look, a cuteness to them that a girl can't find, it just finds fancy and just can't help herself. She's, finds the guy irresistible. I was talking about personality supposed to be like a trait that women look for, but the personality has to come on somebody they can look at that looks good. I know that for myself, I got a hell of a mouth and I can talk around a lot of shit if I wanted to. And I used to do that a lot when it came to trying to get a girl just to, spend time with or just to go and talk to and get to know. I really was persuasive, man. I come off like a salesman a lot of times. It was a girl I really wanted, and I chased some of the gymnastics that I would have to do talking to a girl to get her to look in my direction and to look my way. So much of that. And it was so easy. And I'll tell you, one of the spots that was a thing back, 15, 20 years ago. I'll tell you what I used to do. I'm not afraid to say it. I would meet girls on bus stops. Not go on the bus. Like I would see a girl on a bus stop and I'd say, if it was a girl that I really thought was cute, I'd reach out and talk to her. Maybe I'd even park the car and come over and walk up to her, which is very crazy and stupid. And it was a matter of we didn't have social media back then. We didn't have the dating apps so much rampant now, but I tried it. And if I saw a girl that looked good and I could see her clear as day from there, I didn't do so much where I would try to approach them all. Like I would do it in a grocery store or bookstore or department store. I would try to do that. But it was always one of those things where if I met a girl, it's just if I can happen to catch. Sometimes the gas station was always good, but that even has become difficult. And I never did it at a coffee house, actually. I've never done it at a coffee house, even though I will go get coffee and, all the time. But I never go inside a coffee house, go sit in the experience and see if I can go pick up on a girl. I'm not doing the Rouge type A, day game kind of stuff that's out there. I'm not doing it. The pickup artists can't do that either. When you're getting such a low return and you're getting so many rejections and you just feel like, wow, these rejections and the effort you have to put in and just to get to that first approach. Plus, even if you get the approach, this is the problem. The expectation. When women now can go on social media, they can go and look on not even dating apps because the dating apps are failing. Maybe Hinge is doing well. They're getting more subscribers, Bumble the same way. But what it comes down to is I'm looking at the sugar daddy sites because I see they're places for dating. Seeking, very popular, very expensive. You know, it's now $129 for a basic subscription to that plan. There's Sugar Babies, where you can find women on there, $40 a month. Sugar Daddy, DADDIE, that's $60 a month. And when you look at those sites, you try them out. And when you're the guy and you're getting all this attention, and I honestly think there's some women that you could talk to on there, they just want somebody just to be compassionate, loving, mentorship. Obviously, there's the greedy sugar babies. But the ones that they say they are, honestly, they just want attention. They want love. They want compassion. They want affection. They want understanding. They want somebody to take care of them. And then there's those that really cannot, they don't want to be in the full sugar daddy route or sugar daddy route in terms of meeting in person. They want to be able to just be online, which is basically like a one-on-one OnlyFans. Same idea. And that's okay too. It's one of those things. Now, I'll tell you this. When you're looking at the options that guys have now, they're just not there much anymore. And look, we know that there are people out there, and there's a lot of, communities out there that feel what's going on is very inferior. But in other countries, pay to play has become a thing. And let's just say it like this. For women that think that this is not prostitution, it basically is. It's the same thing as high value escorting. But because everybody has downplayed it and it's been watered down, like the definition, to create sugar dating, something that's a little bit more medial, pliable. That's what's going on now. Let's just, and I don't have a problem with this, okay? I don't have any particular fascination with it or any kind of thing that I need to go and step on a soapbox and complain. I'm not. I'm actually saying this is fine. But let's just call it what it is. Because then the women that will be participating in some of these actions, when they realize what they're going to be called, they're going to get out. And then if guys want to go ahead and spend some time with somebody that's not going to be afraid of being a part of this, of being with a girl that's going to be a sugar daddy, or looking for a sugar daddy and she's a sugar baby, or friends with benefits. Like, that's, if the definition's there, let's call it what it still is. I mean, we might have new trendy terms for 2000, for the new millennium, but it's still prostitution. It's still escorting. That was what they were called before. And there's a story from Spain that talks about this whole idea where prostitution now in Spain is being romanticized as sugar dating or sugar daddy, sugar baby. So El País put a story out, and they talk with 3 young people about their experiences spending time with older men in exchange for money, gifts, and vacations. So these young women are going on here, and they're just going to go and do it. They meet up on the websites, and the women are dubbed sugar babies, but many of the women are struggling financially and often coerced into having sex. So there was one woman they talked to, her name's Anna, 18 years old, struggling financially due to family problems. She put a profile on Seeking Arrangements, Seeking.com. She's overwhelmed, wanted some easy money. Friends encouraged her, arguing that perhaps she wouldn't have to have sex with anyone. She got together with a 50-year-old man, senior officer of a well-known company. Before they got together, he transferred 50, Spanish lira. I forget the dollars over there, but to the account. And when they went to dinner, he transferred another 50. Drove her home, another 50. When they had 6, another 50. So $250, right? No, wait. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, $200. I don't know what that is in. Yeah, what is that? Okay, let me just check what that's called. To Spain dollars. I don't know what that is. I want to look that up. Okay. Oh, I guess euros. So 50 euros each time for different things, different levels. First, to entice her to come on out. After dinner, drove her home. Sex. She says he took control. Well, first of all, she says, it was as if my body didn't belong to me. I didn't know what I was doing. He took control the entire date, and I didn't know how to set limits to say no. But I, like many other girls, had already slept with people without really wanting to, and I thought, at least now I'm getting paid. Being a prostitute sounds bad, but a sugar baby might sound cool. That's why I think it's so dangerous. In America, this will be looked down upon and will be chastised. This girl will be chastised for that. But in other countries, this is where she said herself. They're kind of known to the fact that they have slept with other men they didn't want to sleep with. Now, I hope that's not something where it was not something that she consented to, but it sounds like it was. She didn't really want to, she said. But she didn't say she wasn't forced to. But in America, the rules are different because we know that she would then say, if it was in America, the same girl would say that she was raped or she was molested or groped, provoked, and forced. And in America, it would probably be a rape charge for the guy. But with her, she's saying that it's accepted behavior. It's tolerated. Remember, she had her friends encouraging her. And then she goes on with this guy. And what she didn't understand at 18 years old is that she just became a prostitute. Even though it might be sugar baby stuff, it still is at the end of the conversation. And so this is the whole thing. And she says that it's a prostitution page, Seeking. Many are very wealthy gentlemen. There's also normal people. And she remembers one occasion when having sex with a man who had paid for her, ran to the bathroom because she wanted to vomit. And it was months before she was intimate again with another person. She says, I'm a normal girl who studies, and without intending to be, I was a prostitute. It can happen to anyone just like it happened to me. So keep that in mind, folks. Ladies, if you're listening, I know there are those of you that listen to this audience. I'm amazed at the younger audience that I catch on this program. Whether it's here, whether it's India, whether it's, England, wherever you're at. We know what's going on here. And women, because of social media, because of these websites, there are those that realize, okay, there's this whole fascination with this, but people can actually meet people on those sites. Those are rare exceptions. But for the most part, if there are guys that are meeting with girls in person, yes, there's sexual activity most likely involved. Even though someone might say that they're not, there are, pretty much. And this is a thing that's common. Another girl they talked to spent her 20th birthday on a yacht in Ibiza and invited by a sugar daddy. She met him on Seeking application. Seeking arrangement, same thing. When she arrived, the apartment was filled with bottles of champagne, wine, snacks, and there were 4 other girls. Went out for a walk and to dinner, ended up in the VIP section of a club. He paid for it all, and then Anna was in contact with other several sugar daddies over a short period of time. She had longer relationships, but just with one man at a time because it was too draining, she said. But many of them are real winners. They are psychologically and emotionally needy. They are paying for your time and availability. And she says that her sugar daddies never tried to have sex with her. They weren't gentlemen, but they didn't harass me either. If I said no, it meant no. Maybe not everyone coerces you into having sex, but still a sugar baby is still selling her sexual appeal to a man with money can show off to her coworker. And that's right. Anna said that, and she's absolutely right. OnlyFans, and just because of the fact that you think you're doing it virtual, you think you're less, debaucherous or less degrading? No. That's prostitution the same way alone. Or on OnlyFans, you're just an adult entertainer. You're a porn star. That's what you are. It's just the way it is. And it's amazing how often and how common it is. But it's the truth. Seeking Arrangements has more than 40 million active users around the world. A lot of people. Seeking says they review over 100,000 pieces of content a day. They have a self-monitoring community reporting potential misconduct. And the other thing, unlike prostitution, is that, most of the prostitutes will probably get paid in cash. Meanwhile, sugar babies are being paid in cash, bank transfers, gifts, or experiences. And women just think this is kind of okay, this is kind of normal. And then they also talk to a sociologist named Beatriz Reina. The sugar dating world, she says, is dominated by sugar daddies. 24 million users on Seeking. 1 million are sugar mommies. So there's such a thing as that. But for the most part, this is a common thing. And people need to understand that where we're at with this now and where things have gone. that it's a common thing. And for anybody to go and look at this and not realize this being romanticized, El País said it right. These women said it right too. And the problem is, it's getting normalized. It's the continued decline of online dating. Because what's happening is the sugar daddy sites are controlling the market. 40 million users. I don't know how many you have for Hinge, or Bumble, or OkCupid, or the others. Like Match Group trying to compete with that, they're not. It's a different audience. Plus, remember, these sugar daddy sites command a lot more money than all these other sites do. With better results, which is what I noticed. Now, there are stories out there that continue to go ahead and make it where, oh, this is normalizing. Insider.com put a story out that very much normalizes the whole idea of sugar baby. They put a story out last month about sugar babies whose daddies die are often seen as gold diggers, but the reality of losing a daddy can be excruciating. What is that? So we're now accepting what's happening now with these women and what's going on. This is a common thing. So we move along here and talk about this. So there are TikTok videos out there about people joking about sugar babies celebrating inheritances when a daddy dies. But then there are sugar babies who've lost daddies and they struggle with both grief and a loss of income. They can't attend daddy's funerals and said funerals friends have laughed off their loss. Just to know on social media, the glorifying, the normalization of sugar dating. We have TikTok hashtag sugar baby talk. Hashtag sugar baby, hashtag sugar dating. Over 1 billion combined views. You'll see vlogs of creators flaunting wads of cash, luxurious gifts, first class flight tickets, gifted to them by their sugar daddy. And there were sugar babies interviewed by Insider. Their daddies tend to be older men between 40 and 60 years old. Now, the social media creators outside the sugaring world are quick to make light of satirizing sugar babies, celebrating the money, goods, and property they inherit if a daddy died. And so there is a lot of, just joking haha about it. Now, there's one girl named Christine Medina, a 33-year-old former sugar baby living in Texas. I mean, should she feel happy that she's being called that? Well, it's one thing where we all feel a thing about if women are beautiful and they have pretty privilege and they have the youth and beauty possessed to get what they want, then I can't downplay that. But to allow herself to be interviewed, I would think you'd want to keep a low profile on it. But this girl decided to say something. And so she goes on and talks about saying, when one of her daddies failed to respond to her emails and texts in 2016, she thought she was ghosted. 2 months later, learned he passed away. She struggled with grief over the loss, as well as guilt for having thought the worst of it. Quote, we really had a good relationship, and we were as close as we could be without outright dating. He took care of me when I was sick, and we shared mutual affection. Now, by the way, we learned that name is under anonymity. That was just a stage name to use for this interview. She had 3 clients on rotation. In a good week, she could take home $3,000 on top of gifts, jewelry, and purse. And believes the opulent-looking videos on TikTok are mostly authentic. Now, she says that, this story says sugar daddy is often frowned upon by society. No, it's not. This story right here shows it's being glorified. And just look at the women that are out there that are doing this. And how many women you would realize if you went on these sites, you might know, that are on here doing this. Not afraid to go ahead and be seen. It's not looked down upon. Now people just realize, oh, this is what it is. And so they talked to a licensed psychotherapist at Sea Change Psychotherapy, saying that what Alexander Hasselbeck, the psychotherapist, says that the experience they had was disenfranchised grief, not acknowledged in society. And she's worked with sex workers on trauma and grief, that this is fairly common among this group. It's harder to process grief, she says, if we feel like we can't acknowledge it. Sugar babies are probably not going to get a card when their sugar daddy dies or be able to call out of work. This could feel alienating. And so women are getting to this, and now if they lose the income stream, that's coming in, this money pipeline, the gift pipeline, and it goes away. Oh my goodness. These girls are seriously, they feel grief. And it's like, they're feeling attached to these guys. Like, what is going on here? And, the fact that they want to go and attend the funerals, I get the attachment, but like, really? You never had love for this man. You just took his money. I mean, you don't need to go and play along, but it's like, is there really a grief for the person when you know what the intent was? Or is it the fact that, the gravy train's done? And that's what needs to be understood. I don't know if there's a lot of women that I hear about that have guys that are spoiling them, and then they get to this grief like that. Because in the same way, I wouldn't be surprised if women out there that are gold diggers or women that just want to be paid to play, and they're just getting a guy to just like, to simp along and do something. Like, what if a woman is a fin-dom, financial dominatrix, wants the man just to pay money so he can be embarrassed? Is that woman going to cry if this guy turns up dead, passes away? Is she going to feel good about it? No. She's not going to care. And to think that young, beautiful women have to go and resort themselves here. They feel like they need to go this route. This is a normal thing. And they decide, okay, they're going to go this route, and they're going to get themselves into a spot where they shouldn't be in this spot grieving over someone that they're getting paid from. Like a prostitute, which is the same thing that Alexandra says here. I would prefer that we get back to things where men and women young can actually get back together and actually start dating. But there's a brokenness right now because a lot of kids are coming from single parent households. They don't have the proper man-woman dynamic. I'll tell you what, I actually did a ride, as you all know, I do a little part-time Uber work. And it was one couple that I picked up. Their kids were, I forget, it was the middle of the day. And they just said, okay, we're going to go from bar to bar. Kids are out. They got a night out for themselves. This is a date night. So they go to one place, it's like a tiki bar, restaurant kind of place, and they're going to another place to go hang out. And I hear the both of them talking about how they have 3 kids. The fact that they live in a pretty affluent neighborhood, but they don't necessarily are like, they're very much middle class. And all these rich kids all want to hang out at their house because of the great family environment they have. They have, a son and a daughter. They're both in college. They're doing great. They're making something of themselves. And this couple was so likable together. And they were so down to earth and relaxed. The guy's a contractor, and the woman, the wife, it works with him, and they're like running a family business together, and they do really well. I guess housework, right? Contract. And I hear about this, and I'm like, wow. And she tells us, like, the daughter, she's not going to take any shit from any guys. The son is pretty headstrong. He's, real gentleman, really good with women, and just is very respectful. And I can already tell, like, just from them talking, these 2 parents, they raise good kids. They're the lucky ones. They are with each other. They talk about the woman just essentially like, she says, yeah, we have our things. We have our times where things not go well in a relationship that, we have to work out. But I love this man. I love him with all my heart. And we got a great home together. We got great kids, got a great life. And I could see it. And I was like, man, I am in awe of you. You guys are awesome. If there were more young guys and girls that came from really solid family structures, it would be great. But unfortunately, that's not the case. And so many young girls now feel like they need to subject themselves to going to, when the regular dating sites, when Tinder doesn't do the thing, because Tinder is like the very, Bush League, very simplified version of just dating, where it's like social media. You're looking at who you like without anything else. And guys can be on there and those feel like this is just sex. But then they don't have the mindset, some of these young guys, that they might want to have sex, but they're not understanding that the woman has to be able to, she needs to be able to say, yes, go ahead. You can have sex with me. But they're not. They're not thinking that way. That's a problem. Becoming more often than ever. It's horrible. I want to take from one other story that came in from BuzzFeed, but also a common thing. And you might laugh because it's coming from BuzzFeed, but this is actually a thing that can happen too. So there's a story that reads that this woman has a boyfriend, but she's secretly sleeping with sugar daddies. Should she come clean? From Hey Steven on BuzzFeed, and this is the message she got. She says, so me and my boyfriend have been together for a little over 6 months and living together for 1. Before we got together, I regularly saw sugar daddies. They were my primary source of income while I attended graduates. When we started dating, he asked me to stop seeing them. I did not, and he caught one sending money to me. I told him it won't happen again. It's cheating. That's just plain and simple. But this guy, the realize he has going through this, and it's like, wow, that. Now she says that I moved to another state and started a new job to be with him. It's awesome. I found his job pays pretty poorly, especially compared to what I was making before. I started seeing sugar daddies again. I can make $800 a week extra, and I can afford to do things together and equally split things without worrying. Oh, okay. He has a good job, makes about $2,000 a month, more than me. I don't see sugaring as a fun time, and I think of it as work. I always use protection and would never put him at risk. Do you think he would ever understand if I told him? No. Cheating. It's not, honestly, it's not about the money and what you're making with it. I mean, you can, there's guys that are out there that are absolutely, this girl needs to realize that she can't expect any guy to hold on. Now, let's see what he actually says. Because the reply, I don't like it. Stephen writes back and says, there's nothing wrong with the work you're doing, but there's something wrong with the way you're going about it. Well, okay, I agree with that part. Next, your boyfriend's under the impression that he's the only person you're having sex with. It's important for him to understand he's not. And while your partner has no right to dictate what you can and can't do, he does have a right to decide whether he wants to be in a non-monogamous relationship. If sugaring is something you want to keep doing, you need him to be on board with that. It could impact him both physically and emotionally. And he breaks it down. First of all, could she catch something, an STI, from the sugar daddy? Number one. And then, emotionally, if sugaring is nothing but a job for you, it still requires going on dates and some kind of emotional intimacy with another person. And the boyfriend should know you're chatting with these people, flirting with them. That means you need to be able to have like a non-monogamous open relationship. And we know women these days are more than willing to get a guy to be polyamorous or just open up or have a guy. Well, if you want to be with me, I want to be able to have another guy in the bedroom and I want to have you both in the bed with me. And there are guys that are accepting this more often. They're just dropping down their morals and just dropping their dignity and saying, oh, I'll just do anything for this girl. Even have her screwing some other guy while I'm watching. Or he's taking one end and I'm taking the other. And this is supposed to be acceptable. Really? Incredible. But that's the case now. It's sad. It's too common. This is something that needs to be looked at, followed along, and just realize, where are we going to go to turn things around? It's not going to be. But in the meantime, if we can't change the dynamic of how parenting is going down, while the social media presence continues to intensify and amplify fear of missing out, the idea of normalizing all these different things that really shouldn't be done, because if women really just took the perception to say, you know what, sugar daddy, sugar baby stuff is prostitution. It just is. It's not. I mean, it's not a matter if the woman thinks it's acceptable or not. It's going to be, do I want to be known as a prostitute? Because you're basically doing the same thing. And most women won't. Because that word has a lot of connotation, very strong, just like a stripper. Same idea. Exotic dancer, same idea. Someone don't want to be that, but there are some women that will take this. Oh, put an OnlyFans page up, do a private Snapchat, or do something on Instagram. Get the Cash App out there, get the PayPal, whatever it is, and make the money off of glorifying or objectifying their body like a dancer or a porn star, or going out with a guy to make money and get gifts like a prostitute. There's just no bare bones about it. That's what it is. And I'm not judging or blaming a girl for doing what they're doing, but if we were able to possibly identify that better, there are going to be some women that will go and not do that. And we can also try to help the guys and girls out there that have gone through a lot of things, their own eventual emotional trauma, which guys and girls equally have, and help turn that around so they can go ahead and realize they can still be who they are, not lose who they are, and start making drastic changes and trying to be a chameleon and just change themselves into something that they're not, which happens too much. You see the young girls that are out there, and they constantly change themselves. You'll see young, impressionable young girls with young guys, and then you'll see those same girls a couple of years later changing their hair, piercing, tattoos, clothing changes, attitudes. You're seeing now, maybe in some of the cases, it might be just a fashion statement. It used to be what was. It was a statement. It was just a change of rebellion. It was just a change of evolving. But some of these changes are being done because some of these people are emotionally scarred. They need help. And hopefully this program, hopefully my episode here tonight is another example of me trying to help all of you young people out there. And there's a younger audience. I see it 18 to 44. And I see about 33% are female, 67% male. So I have an audience that's listening. And for those of you out there, I'm with you. I'm on your side. I care. I care, and I love that you listen to this program. I have all the love for you. Nothing but the best for you. I wish nothing but the best. And by the way, if you want to go ahead and put any comments, you want to go ahead and reach out to me, and you want me to answer any questions, or you want me to take any topics that we should talk about, reach out to me at ddradio.live. There's a contact form there. ddradio.live. I'd love to hear from you. So in the meantime, you can go ahead and realize maybe you want to just do something more traditional. Maybe not use the dating apps. Actually try to meet somebody in person. I talked about it last week. Shoot your shot. Whatever you're going to do. But remember, if you feel fine with knowing that deep down, sugar dating is prostitution, and OnlyFans and all the creator stuff where you're showing off your bodies is like the same idea as being a porn star or entertainer, then that's okay for you to be depraved and debaucherous.